VETtalk Radio is proudly supported by the Animal Referral Hospital.
This week, one of the early signs that you will see is they will start to look a little bit wobbly on their legs, especially their back legs. They'll walk like they're a little bit drunk. That's what we call ataxia.
Paralysis ticks, more deadly than sharks or crocodiles, but we'll show you how searching for them can also be fun.
And what's the best way to clean up cat wee?
Well, if you're a cat, what are you going to do? You're going to pee over the top. You can't be tolerating a tiger on your carpet.
Plus, imagine if your dog actually wanted to go to the vet.
Don't go the same way of, putting a leash on your dog, checking in, then waiting in this stew pot of adrenaline, of stress, which is that waiting area.
Make sure you listen to these great tips that'll make vet visits fear-free.
And how dangerous are everyday household chemicals?
You don't want your pet either to eat the poison or the rat that died.
G'day, I'm Brian Pickering.
And I'm Kay Brown.
All those stories and more right here on VETtalk Radio. Okay, thanks for joining us again. Every Saturday we upload a new show to vettalkradio.com.au, or if you like our Facebook page, which I do. Do you?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Just search for VETtalk TV and we'll keep you updated. Now, we're also on Spreaker, which is a great resource for podcasts, and very soon we'll be on iTunes, so we'll let you know about that shortly. But before our first story, here she is, journalist Kay Brown, the writer of stories Strange But True.
Well, a good news story first up. There are moves to expand a program which provides specially trained dogs for soldiers, diggers, suffering PTSD, that's post-traumatic stress disorder. About 3 years ago, a PTSD dog called Whiskey, trained by inmates and named by them, of course, at the Bathurst Correctional Centre, is credited with saving the life of a former digger who was seriously injured on a night patrol in Afghanistan and subsequently suffered depression, anger, abuse of substances, and withdrew from his family. Well, Whiskey died late last year, but now that he's recovered, Scott Jackman and his wife Liz founded Whiskey's Wish, a not-for-profit organisation training and supplying PTSD service dogs who can do things like turn on lights, block people from coming too close, even putting washing in washing machines and turning it on.
What a great idea.
It's really cool. So far, a further 15 people with PTSD have been provided with a four-legged life support system. And a forum on PTSD dogs in Brisbane, actually it's taking place right now, is hoping to find ways of dramatically increasing those numbers.
I love the idea of a four-legged life support system. That's very appealing. I think all our dog lovers out there will respond very positively to that. What else have you got?
Well, this one isn't about loving things. Do you suffer arachnophobia?
Actually, I don't, but you do.
Sometimes. Well, arachnophobes won't be too impressed that scientists have discovered not just one, but potentially two new types of funnel web spiders. Yes, just what Australia needs to boost tourism, new poisonous spiders. First, zoologists from the Australian National University found what they think is a whole new species of funnel web spiders in the Boonderee National Park near Jervis Bay, south of Sydney. Genetic testing will have to be done to confirm if it is a new species, but for now the researchers think it's linked to the tree-dwelling funnel webs rather than the ones, see, I'm nervous already, I haven't even seen it, rather than the ones that hang around on the ground like the ones in Sydney. However, they're very hardy, these funnel webs. Apparently the ones they've just found live up to 30 years.
Wow, that's nearly as old as you.
Close, nice point. Then just a couple of days later, more ANU scientists found another unusual funnel web spider in the Tallaganda State Forest in New South Wales, just southeast of Canberra. Another place I won't be going. This one has zoologists all excited because of its colouring. Most funnel web spiders apparently are black all over. Occasionally they have a patch of red, but this one has a bright red fang.
Oh, dear.
So now we have to watch out for funnel web spiders, redback spiders, and, ta-da, the worst kind of combination, a red-fanged funnel web spider.
Well, as a former Kiwi, you've done very well there to be able to stay in Australia for so long for a start. But you know the best part of that story?
What?
You got the words Jervis Bay correct.
Well, of course.
You know, most people call it Jervis Bay or something, but no, Jervis Bay. But spiders, goodness me. What? Are we creating them here? Is this some kind of Aussie thing?
No, I think they've been hiding there all along. They're only just finding them. They've probably got better microscopes and things. Anyways, they can go look for them. I won't. Okay, on a lighter note, our final story. A new movie's about to hit the cinemas just in time to entertain the kids during the school holidays and quite possibly a few grandparents as well.
Deep in the Australian outback, a new hero will emerge, of the extraordinary kind. Well, sort of.
The name's Blinky Bill. I'm pretty legendary around here. Maybe you heard of me.
Nope.
Well, trust me. Any trouble comes our way, I'll give it my famous whip kick to the guts.
Ouch, that's got to hurt. If you could see the trailer, and we will put it on the site. Yep, Blinky Bill, that koala in little red overalls, is up to his old tricks. It's amazing. You know, he was born in 1930, apparently.
Really?
Long time before us, but
Absolutely.
he's back.
And I love the accent. Yeah, I'm Blinky Bill, mate.
Hey.
Yeah, what do you reckon? Hey.
Yeah. Don't forget, he talks about drop bears. Just a little hint. Yep.
Okay. Thanks, KB. Now, every year, thousands of dogs and cats are poisoned by the deadly paralysis tick. And a few weeks ago, we brought you the life-saving story of a dog, Austin, who almost died from the paralysis tick. Since then, we've looked into some of the practical things all pet owners can do to make sure our pets don't even have a tick on them.
Brian caught up with surgery nurse Casey Findlay and vet nurse Jane Perez at Sydney's Animal Referral Hospital to see what they knew about finding paralysis ticks.
Fair bit of experience. Did 9 years emergency over on the Northern Beaches where pretty much during September to February all we did was tick paralysis.
Sharks and crocodiles might get all the media attention, but there's another killer unique to Australia that's worse than sharks and crocs put together. It's the paralysis tick. And if you're a vet nurse on the eastern seaboard, that's the 20-kilometre strip down our coastline, then chances are that, like Casey, you've had a lot of experience finding where these sneaky bloodsuckers hang out on an unsuspecting pet, and how to reveal their hiding places.
Kind of like doing an intimacy spider, I guess, all up and down the dog or cat. And as you can see, they're generally going to enjoy this attention.
You can make it a game, even with little Elvis, because he's such a small puppy. It's good to train him from a really young age to have a good look at his little feet, because vets are going to want to do that during their exam. So
the key thing is to start the game young, as soon as possible, so that checking for unusual bumps becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth, and theirs, only just a lot more fun. Here's a quick heads up as to why it's so critical pets also receive the latest in tick prevention. Paralysis ticks need blood to mutate and procreate. Unfortunately, their bite injects a poisonous saliva which, if left untreated, will progressively paralyse the host, starting with the back legs and ultimately stopping their lungs.
And often they're not protected by available products because they don't normally live in a tick area. They pick up a tick when they're on holidays or visiting friends, and then unfortunately, dogs and cats can get really ill.
one of the early signs that you will see is they will start to look a little bit wobbly on their legs, especially their back legs. They will walk like they're a little bit drunk. That's what we call ataxia.
There are now several new weapons in the war against ticks, including 2 new long-life products, a collar and a tasty chew, both of which protect dogs from paralysis ticks and fleas for a whopping 3 months at a time. Bottom line, even the best tick control products are only effective if owners follow the usage instructions to the letter and follow up with that daily fingertip search for telltale bumps. Better to be safe than sorry. Ticky, ticky, ticky. Ticky, ticky, ticky. Ticky, ticky.
Oh, aren't they cool? That's vet nurses Casey Findlay and James Perez, and some really cool tips.
He really liked that little dog. In fact, if you go to the VETtalktV.com website, you'll see James with this little, I think it's a little boxer.
Yeah,
I think he wanted to take it home, actually.
I think just about all the vet nurses and vets we've ever met have always wanted to take every pet they look after home.
Okay, well, we don't have a cat ourselves, although...
At the moment.
We did mind our daughter's cat Smokey for a while, and amazingly, he seemed to handle the fact we had 4 dogs and just as many chickens pretty well. But for many cat owners, dealing with cat wee can be a major problem, as many of you might have noticed when visiting a friend's home who
Be you.
As a cat. Cave recently visited cat vet Dr. Kim Kendall from the Chatswood Cat Palace, who knows more than most about cat wee.
Is there one sure way to deal with pussycat wee?
Cat urine's actually sterile. I mean, I've got some old cats who have very infected urine, but in general, cat urine's sterile. And the problem with disinfectants is that they have a component that smells like cat wee. I mean, ammonia is a portion of it. So when you use ammonia or some of the other disinfectants, now you've made that little patch of cat wee that your cat has done smell like a tiger has come and peed.
Uh-oh.
Well, if you're a cat, what are you going to do? You're going to pee over the top. You can't be tolerating a tiger on your carpet. And that's the other problem for cats, is that freshly laid carpet, the solvents in the glue smell like tiger wee. So does fresh paint. So when you find cat wee not in the litter tray, you need to do a little bit of detective work to find out why the cat has done that. If you've created the problem, then it's really up to you to fix it. So now there is dozens of ways that you have to figure out how to get rid of the smell. It's pretty sticky and it's pretty icky. And I think even the cats don't particularly like to have stale urine smell around. So vinegar and baking soda and all those other, but no, when they do actually rigorous tests, it doesn't work.
So no natural things from the kitchen?
Essentially not, I'm afraid. The debulking agent that works the best is the enzymatic laundry detergents. Biozet's one of them that's quite specific. I don't know about any of the others. I've never tried them. We get a lot of, with the boarding, if the cat's distressed, they will sometimes push their beds into their litter tray to cover up the smell for themselves. So we deal with a lot of urine on beds and so forth, and we just use Biozet, soak it for 24 hours, and then just put it through the wash. And that becomes acceptable again to the cat. Lavender has been shown to be quite good at calming for dogs and cats. Again, it's not just supposition, it's actually been shown. I mean, it's a mild effect, but it's enough. So that's another way to make the bed smell a little more comforting and a little less confronting. So if you've got something washable, then Biozet's the go. If it's in your carpet or on the wall, then I would still debulk with some of the Biozet. You just a tablespoon and a litre of water, something like that, spray it on, give it a bit of time and then wipe it off. When we get cat urine on the impervious surfaces in here, we just use simple green detergent, just a straight non-scented detergent, because cats don't like the smell of lemon either. And again, you're debulking it and then you just wipe it off clean. Make sure you don't use a mop, because then your mop is going to contain the urine smell. I mean, if you just think about what you're actually doing and what you're leaving behind, you know that you want to be able to wash whatever you've cleaned with. So once you've debulked it, then there's a number of other agents. There's urine off. There's a uniquely Australian one called piss off. It's changed its name to POQ instead of... Yes, and urine free and a number of other ones that were actually developed for nursing homes, for people, which kind of grosses me out that this product has to be developed for us as we move through the various stages. So the big message actually should be, if your cat has peed outside the litter tray, consider it a distress signal and get onto it, because if you do that within a month, 100% of cats can be redirected back to their litter tray. You wait 3 months, it drops to 80%, and after a year, you're working really hard.
They obviously don't like the litter or something, and that was the message.
Or there's another cat outside, and then once, as one of the behaviourists said, there's no downside to peeing on the carpet. It doesn't splash back. People clean it immediately. You don't have to go in the same spot. So once you've broken that connection, we're meant to be smarter than the cats. I don't think we're more determined, but we're meant to be smarter.
Well, we certainly can clean up more often and regularly, and perhaps that'll help. Thank you very much indeed,
Thank you,
Kim
Kay.
Kendall.
Gee, how many times can she say Biozet?
Well, I think they should be sponsoring her, because I'd already found out, by the way, that Biozet also works on doggy urine as well, when we used to have our now past male dogs. Yes, yep. Male dogs, yes. So you often find little patches some places. But
so this segment wasn't brought to you by Biozet, but it could be. Now, does your normally cool, calm and collected dog suddenly turn into a quivering mess when it realises you're going to the vet?
Da, 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 da.
Or your sleepy pussycat becomes a tangled mess of teeth and claws at the same prospect? Well, America's favourite vet, Dr. Marty Becker, is part of a brand new initiative called Fear-Free Vet Visits, which is fantastic. It's helping pet owners as well as vets to make sure that basically the vet visits are happy for everybody.
Stress-free, yeah.
Now, we suggest that you listen to this next segment carefully and check out some of Marty's tips to make taking your pet to the vet a whole lot easier.
What you want to do as a pet owner is you want to take your pet into the veterinarian hungry so it responds better to food rewards. You want to make sure when you put the carrier in the car, if it's a cat or a small dog, that the carrier is flat, that it is facing forward, so it's going to be facing the back of the passenger side seat, for example. You want to have it covered, so a light sheet, your coat in an emergency or whatever you want to cover it with because you want to reduce visual stimuli. When you get to the practice, if they're able to, ask them if you can go straight into an exam room to be checked in. And so if they have the room and the technology, if they don't, park outside, go in and check in and go back out and wait in your vehicle until it's your turn to be seen. Don't go the same way of, putting a leash on your dog, getting the carrier out for the cat or the small dog, swinging it by your side as you go in the door, checking in, then waiting in this stew pot of adrenaline, of stress, which is that waiting area. And then if you're a veterinarian, we're used to finding symptoms. That's what we do. We're looking at symptoms, and based on the symptoms, that's what I think is wrong. So now it's looking at emotional symptoms. And now that I know this, how can I remove these next time? How can I, change this right now? And it may be as simple as using really delectable food rewards, not something that's easy to reject, but a high currency food reward like a piece of a turkey hot dog or something, or spray cheese. It's lowering your voice, use distraction techniques. So having a nurse give them some kind of treat on the end of a tongue depressor while you're doing something that, rather than just coming at them with the needle, they don't even see the needle.
That was Dr. Marty Becker, and I can understand why he's America's favourite vet. In fact, I think he's probably the world's favourite vet. He's certainly a charmer, and he really cares about the emotional side of our pets and making sure they feel good about feeling healthy. Yeah.
And there's a longer talk with Marty that you did.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is, and you can actually check that out on VETtalktv.com.
Now, did you know that the simple act of using fly or hairspray or even deodorant, thank you, can be dangerous for our pets? It's a serious topic. Even cleaning a wooden or tiled floor can be a hazard, especially if your pet licks its paws, which most do. And what about the garden? Now, Kay spoke with ARH surgical specialist Dr. Sarah Goldsmid, who knows only too well some of the hazards around the home.
There are a lot of chemicals in our households and gardens these days, and there are a lot of things that we spray on our bodies to keep bugs off and to keep bugs off our pets. Do we need to worry about those?
There are chemicals that can affect pets, just like some people are sensitive to them, and so you do have to be a little careful with what you have around. For instance, you have to watch out for some of the poisons that you might put out for rats, to kill rats. And you don't want your pet either to eat the poison or the rat that died. You also have to be a little careful with some of the pesticides, that they might use, in the garden. Mm-hmm. That sort of thing can be quite toxic for animals. Snail pellets. Also, if you've got exotics, some of the sprays, pesticides, are really dangerous for fish or for your birds, so you have to be a little careful with some of those sprays. One of my cats has just been diagnosed with feline asthma, and I have to be careful with aerosol kind of sprays, just deodorant and that sort of thing around the cat, because it's likely to stir up the respiratory disease. So yeah, you do have to be a little careful with your pets.
How can you tell if a cat has asthma?
Well, he was coughing quite a lot and had to have radiographs, and he actually saw one of our medical specialists here, because that's not my area, I'm a surgeon, so he saw one of our medical specialists and was diagnosed with asthma based on x-rays and his coughing. Yeah.
And it's quite common?
It is quite common, and he's actually perfectly fine now on medication. He hasn't coughed since, so he looks great. But you need to have it worked up because you need to make sure I needed to make sure he didn't have an infection or some other problem. Yeah.
We can talk about coughing and what that might be another time. Thank you, Dr. Sarah Goldsmid.
My pleasure.
And indeed, we're going to speak with the doctor who helped Dr. Sarah Goldsmid, Dr. Norelle Brown, about how she worked up the asthma problem that Sarah's cat had.
In fact, I was going to say what I find really interesting is there's all these specialists, the specialist medicine, Dr. Norelle, specialist surgeon, Dr. Sarah, and they're all talking to each other, which is fantastic.
Well, just as well, because they're all at the one location, and we're very lucky and privileged, I must say, to be able to access them and get all this information that hopefully helps all of us have happier and healthier pets.
Absolutely. Alrighty, next week, are you thinking of buying a horse?
Nay.
Oh, okay. It might just pay you to listen to some of the top 10 tips from Brindavella vet Dr. Olivia James on some of the things to be aware of before making what is usually, and I would imagine, a very, very expensive purchase.
Yep.
Plus, what's in store for the Future Vet Kids Camp 2016, a great initiative of Canadian vet Dr. Scott Bainbridge.
Well, that is all for this week. It's gone so fast. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to check out more of our weekly podcasts. The previous ones are on the site. Plus, there are extended video stories that you can access via vettalkradio.com.au or vettalktv.com.
Thanks for joining us, and if you like what we do, please tell a friend. See you soon.
Absolutely. See you next time.